Today we're going to talk about how to talk to unattainable women in the world of Warcraft. What? Just kidding, calm down already, let's talk about some RBGs. So if you've ever had to pug people in order to build an RBG group, then you've likely had some variant of the following conversation. First, you post your RBG as looking for 2k XP for noob stomping RBGs, or something like that. Or maybe you don't need 2k, but you need a particular class, and you're tired of getting those hunters that think that they're going to be healers. No matter how many band-aids you have, it's just not going to work. But anyways, you post some requirement and somebody clicks apply. Then you ask them to link something, usually an achievement of some sort. Then you get any number of responses, but usually it's something like complete silence, or they flat out lie and post an achievement they don't actually have with something like, I am awesome, drop whoever you have and take me. And they're doing that via an add-on called Achievement Faker. Or they flat out lie and don't link the achievement. They just say, oh, I've got 2k, but it's on my other account that I was banned on, so I can't link it to you. Some BS like that. In either case, you armory them, and then you decline them because they don't have what they say they have. Or they might have had it, but they got banned for something. So in my case, I don't take those people just because I don't like playing with cheaters. And then, after a few seconds of silence, you might get a personal message from them saying, you know, it's kind of hard to get XP when you can't get into groups. Snarky emoji. Now, I don't know what a snarky emoji looks like, but if there were one, it would totally go right there. And then you /ignore them because, who needs to deal with that kind of crap? This type of conversation happens all the time with me, and it's a point of contention. On the one hand, the pug feels like they just can't get into groups, and the leaders are jerks. On the other hand, the leaders feel like the pugs are just being selfish. Let's dig into the perspectives a little bit more. From the pug perspective, they generally want to do well in the game and get lots of rewards to show off to all their friends. They don't want to grind through bad groups to do it. And deep down, they feel like they are a 2k player. They just haven't had the opportunity to run with other 2k players yet in order to get the achievement. In summary, they want to play without having the experience, but they can't get the experience without playing. And it feels like a chicken and egg scenario. From the RBG leader perspective, or at least the person putting the group together, they're concerned with wanting to run a good group that wins more than it loses. I think most of them have that in mind. They want people to have fun. They do not want to deal with drama. And they don't want to disappoint the other 8 people in the group. I'll give you a second to do the math. That's 8 people. That's not including the person doing it and the pug trying to get in. In summary, they want to fill the group with good players that will operate well with the players they've already got in the group. That's their goal. They do not want to bring in somebody who the other players are going to look at, inspect, and say immediately, this person is not prepared. They do not have the experience that we need, and you better have a pretty darn good voucher either from yourself or someone we trust before we take this person along. That just creates drama. So if you're wanting to get yourself into some RBGs and you don't have the achievements that everybody's looking for, how do you do it? Well, I'm going to share with you 5 ways that I've used over my WoW career to get into RBGs consistently. And it may come as a surprise to you, but though I've played at higher MMRs and higher CRs, I haven't actually gotten the 2k achievement for 2k CR in RBGs. I generally play at a 1800 CR level, and then I often play with teams that are generally successful over the night and happen to push their MMR a little bit higher. But I jump around on different characters, I join a lot of different teams, and I just enjoy myself because I guess I have hobbies like YouTube and things like that. So I just don't put in the amount of time that a lot of 2K CR players do. But I consistently manage to get into groups, good groups, and not always just building my own. without that achievement. So here are some of the things that I've done. First off, network via arenas. Some of the best players that I've pulled into groups were people that had no RBG experience, but I played with them in arenas and they really performed well. And once they got in, of course, then we pulled them in consistently. But finding people through arenas is kind of roll your luck and see what happens. But eventually, if you're performing well, if you know your class, if you take it seriously, and if you're having some success in arenas, collect those battle tags and watch for people getting into RBGs. And when you see them in RBGs, reach out to them and say, hey, can you pull me in? And if they remember you, and if they remember you associated with the success that you had in the arenas, then a lot of times people will pull you in and vouch for you and say, yeah, this guy's good. I did arenas with him the other day and we really kicked butt. Another way to get into RBGs is without experience is via guild groups. Now, a lot of guild groups will require some arena experience or some arena achievements, and so you do want to do the first step first. But if you don't want to do arenas, or if you're not having luck with arenas, start looking for guilds. Shop around, find a guild that's a PvP guild that does tryouts for RBGs. Look at their guild calendars and see if that's showing up anywhere. And oftentimes a tryouts for RBGs will consist of a guild leader or RBG leader from the guild leadership going and taking a group together, making a pre-made in regular BGs, or maybe just doing low CR RBGs on an alt and seeing who stands out, who's doing well. And if you, in that case, that's an opportunity. You know, if you really are the 2K player that you think you are, then you're going to stand out and you're going to be pulled into higher level groups then. Next, you can host your own low CR groups. Now, this is a ton of work, and this is the route that I went a couple of years ago. You can go through and start doing just YOLOs, build some YOLOs, don't require a lot, do low CR stuff, and build up that experience and that B-tag list of yours until you get your CR up higher enough. Now, remember, up through about the 1500s, you can lose games and you don't lose any CR. So there's no point why anyone trying to get into higher level pre-made groups shouldn't have at least 1500 CR. Even when I'm rolling a new character and people are inviting me even on that new character to pre-made groups, I generally want to stick with low CR and YOLOs until I've hit about that 1500 mark, because that gives me the time to learn the character, to not embarrass myself, and to not waste other people's time. Fourth, you can play the class that everybody's looking for but can't find. Generally, from one patch to the next, certain classes will be OP and teams want multiples of them. Currently, it's kind of Mistweavers. Usually it's some type of healer. So a safe bet is to play a healer or a class that's generally a target caller. Those are a little bit harder because you don't want to get in and say, hey, I can target call, and then you don't target call well. But I've got some videos you can check out of good examples of target calling, so you can see what you're aiming for. If you are playing some of these classes, maybe it's not your favorite class, but do it enough to get the achievements that you need in order to get into groups. And then you can link those achievements when you're on the alt character that you enjoy playing. And that's how you get your foot in the door. Remember, you only need to get these achievements once to get them, right? So if you got to play a class maybe that you don't particularly enjoy but is in high demand, go and do it for a season. And do it well and enjoy yourself, because otherwise, there's no point in playing the game. But consider that paying your dues to get into the RBG scene. Lastly, if you don't care for a lot of the networking involved in or looking for guild groups or running your own RBGs, you can just YOLO a ton. And if you're going to do that, I suggest you have a name that's memorable, because what's going to happen is if you are just always queuing up for RBGs and taking whatever you can find and just enjoying yourself and doing well, then if you have a memorable name, a lot of times when your name comes up in Pug Finder, if people remember your name, they will forget to armor you and they'll bring you in anyway. And again, you are kind of playing the luck game, but eventually that also pans out well in your favor. So those are 5 ways to get past the chicken and egg scenario of wanting to get experience but not having it in the first place. I want to encourage you to have a bit of empathy for the people building groups. Realize that if they pull you in and you're not looking like a safe bet, especially if it's a rating push group, they're letting down everybody else that's already in the group. And not taking that into consideration and just thinking about yourself is, well, selfish. So, be a little considerate about that. Play the game. Realize that it's not going to happen overnight. It does take a lot of time. The people who are playing at higher levels put in the time. They really take the game seriously, because that's how you get into the top 10 and 5% of PvPers in terms of rating. You have to put in the time. It's not something that comes easy, and it's not a mechanical process. You have to network. You have to find other people. It's a team sport, and if it is a sport. And so I hope you find these to be useful in making your debut into the RBG community. And I want to encourage you to do it because it's a lot of fun. Like, subscribe, comment below. Let me know what you think. And I will be back again next week with another video.
Oh, hiya, Sarah. Hey, I know that underneath that humanoidish figure, you're really a huge scaly lizard with wings, but I thought, if you're not busy sometime, we might, grab a flask of Gorgon mineral water, maybe? No? How about some noggin fogger?